If in Europe you refuse to put barriers on your borders, you will have to put barriers around things in your country that you really care about. Okay, in this video, guys, I'm going to talk to you about how we are going to hold our government to account. We're going to look at the treasonous behaviours that are happening within the UK Home Office, and we're going to do something about it. And in this, I've got this thing here, which is just some notes. At the very bottom, I've got lines about how we can investigate our Home Office and the fact that we need to. I mean, guys, there's been an insurrection, isn't there? We know that. I think there's treasonous activities happening. Germany has just seen that, and I think we really need to talk about it. Now, I released a video Friday, which is about 2 days ago now, called "The Security Experts Warn of Terror Threat at Christmas Markets." Now, 90 minutes after I released that video, by all means go and have a look at it. About 70,000 people have watched that. A man in Germany drove his car into that market, and unfortunately there were 5 fatalities, including a 9-year-old young boy, and there was about 200 people that are injured, and they reckon that there's going to be some more fatalities from that. Now, people have been saying this man was a Muslim, and other people have been saying, no, he wasn't a Muslim, he was an ex-Muslim, and he was a member of the AFD, and I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Don't buy into this narrative that's coming out of governmental sources. The truth is, it doesn't matter. All right, it's an absolute irrelevance. Okay, it doesn't matter whether this guy was a Muslim, whether he was pro Saudi Arabia, all that kind of stuff. You take what it was. They could have been doing the taqiyya stuff where they're allowed a false narrative, aren't they? Muslims are a false narrative. You write in the comments what you think, but just be careful what you say, because I'm not the guy that bans your comment. All right, I'm not. YouTube will. I'm not. Now, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. What happened was there was somebody who shouldn't have been in the country. He wasn't an ethnic German, and he attacked Christians at Christmas time in a Christian country. So it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter now. It's an irrelevance, isn't it? You come in to attack Christians. It's a Christian nation. Like the UK is a Christian nation. We've got Anglo-Saxon blood between England and between Germany. Anglo-Saxon, we share the same blood. We share the same blood. I've got German blood in me. All right, that's the truth. And I'll go in some point. My German ancestry, if you want to hear about it, especially the military side, is really interesting. You won't want to hear all of it, I'll tell you right now. But I can tell you some of it. I won't tell you all of it. No. Anyway, right, let's have a look then. So, irrespective of what this man was doing, the way it was reported in the press was just extreme and outrageous. All right, so Associated Press said a car has driven into a group of people at a Christmas market in Germany. A car, just a car drove itself. It didn't say a man has driven a car, it said a car. I mean, awful. The BBC had a debate about what could have caused this man to do it. And it was basically saying, people on there were saying, well, he could have got a bad divorce, couldn't he? He could have been really financially hard up. Absolute nonsense coming out of our mainstream press. Talk TV even. There was a caller on there, a lady, a good British lady, and she was saying, look, she's avoiding shopping centres this time of year. And they mocked her, they laughed at her because she said she was afraid of an event like this. And this was before it actually happened, all right? And as I said, I'll show you that video up there later. Look, what I'm here to talk about right now today is, I'm here to tell you that diversity is not our strength. Have you seen that the government, Sadiq Khan, all these people, these treasonous actors have stopped talking about how diversity is our strength? Because it's not true. They can't sell it anymore. It's not a strength, is it, to go and drive a car through a Christmas market and kill a whole load of people? That's not a strength, is it? That's a weakness. I mean, we're not, not stupid, right? Sadiq Khan doesn't use it anymore, does he? He can't use it. He's not able to use it. Just give him a knighthood instead. And that's the thing. Give him a knighthood. Celebrate these people, because they want to keep that message going, because they have to import people, whether it's to increase GDP or whether it's to give them more debt to build the debt mountain. Irrespective, they have to do it, because these people are globalists. All right, they're globalists. What that means is they believe that someone who's new to your country, and I'll explain this when I talk about Rishi Sunak and Kemi Badenoch in a minute, but someone just coming in from, say, I don't know, Tanzania or Kenya or Tunisia or Algeria, they have as much right to be in your country as you do. That's what these people believe. They believe that. Honestly, I mean, not being funny, go and get a school place for your kid. I haven't got kids, but go and get one, and then see who's in the queue ahead of you. It'll be non-British kids. Guaranteed it, all right? I mean, call me whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I served for 20 years in my military, all right? I'm proud to do so. So I don't think I'm the problem in this country. I believe the problem resides in the Home Office. And we'll talk about that in a second. So that is one of the issues that we have. Now, one of the things I did read, it's not mine, I read this, and someone had actually said, look, if in Europe you refuse to put barriers on your borders, you will have to put barriers around things in your country that you really care about. That hit me. was like, oh yeah, okay, good. So we're not going to put barriers on our borders. We're going to allow anyone in. Germany's experienced that, of course. France experienced that. We've experienced that. But then when they come in, we've got to put barriers around Christian things that we care about. Christmas markets, train stations, all those kind of things. Transitional spaces, stuff where we want to protect people. We've got to do that. So I'm here to tell you, as I said, that diversity is not our strength. People were trying to convince me the other day, it was police trying to convince me you've always had armed police. This is one of the problems with the police. As I said in the last video, 70% of police had less than 5 years experience. So the police are trying to tell me we always had armed response police officers. We always had armed police officers walking the street. No, we didn't. You may have had covert ones. You didn't have, G36 rifles, 6 hours walking the streets like that as an overt threat. You didn't have that. My father was an armed response officer. He never used to walk the streets. They're only released on response to something. So, okay, so how does diversity lower social cohesion then? Now, just briefly, I'm not going to keep this too long. If you think about Pakistani Muslims and the first cousin marriages that just hit the press as well. The reason they married their first cousins in Pakistan was because Pakistan was a low trust country. They didn't trust each other. Of course, they didn't used to steal from each other. They still do, of course. You know what I mean? So by marrying another family, marrying a first cousin, you keep it within that family. You're marrying your own family technically, aren't you? Keeping it within your family, keeping the business within the family because you don't trust anyone. Now, the thing is, in the UK, we are a high trust country. That's the truth. We didn't need first cousin marriages because we trusted each other, do business with each other. That's being eroded. We're going from a high trust to a low trust society. It's happening in your lifetime rapidly. We know it's happening. So something called the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD, which is the professional body for human resources, learning and development. Also, the Harvard Business Review have also said something very similar, but I was sent this by a pilot in the Royal Air Force, a very, very clever, talented man. And what they say is about diversity. And this is important that we listen to this, guys, because I've been saying this for a long time. Now, I've been saying it about meritocratic, hierarchical institutions, such as the military. I've been saying that in the military, this does not work. It does not work to force diversity into the military. To say, like the Royal Marines do, hey, we're the Royal Marines. Come and join us if you think you're good enough. Young men are like, oh yeah. I better do some press ups. I better do some running. I want to join the Royal Marines. I want to be one of those guys, right? They get excited about it. That's what it should be. So this is about small teams in business. I'm reading this now, right? Reading this thing here. It says, any positive relationships between diversity and effectiveness are small. The relationship can even be negative since diversity can adversely affect team cohesion and behaviours such as communication. Organisations should nevertheless still strive for diversity in teams for ethical reasons, even if it doesn't improve their effectiveness. So what it's saying here from the CIPD, what HR is saying, never listen to HR, it's saying, yeah, have diversity, but it will make you weaker it's actually just admitted that. It's saying, even if it doesn't improve their effectiveness, you should still strive for diversity in teams. Rubbish. Nonsense. And that's what we're doing to our country. We are literally making our country intentionally more diverse, and it will weaken us. Are we bringing in doctors and surgeons? By the way, even if we are, the guy that drove into that market was a doctor. The guy that drove into Glasgow airport with the propane canisters was a Muslim doctor. He was a doctor. I'm saying what it is. I'm saying what it is, guys. It's about globalisation, as I said. They believe anyone, no matter who they are, is as important as someone that was born in that country. Let's talk about where we're born, shall we? Because I was born in England. My father was Welsh. My mother was English, of course. I've got an ancestry that goes through these lands. I'm Anglo-Saxon through and through. You know how I am. My blood is Germanic as well, all right? I'm kind of proud of that. I've got this natural attraction to Germany. This is why I get quite emotional about this kind of stuff. As I said, my blood runs deep within the German military as well. People don't realise that. I don't want to talk about it, but it does. Some parts of the German military that you do not want to hear about. That's where my blood runs deep. However, Rishi Sunak and Kemi Badenoch then. I just saw this thing about Rishi in California, on a beach somewhere, a couple of kids on Twitter or whatever, and he's talking to these kids. Rishi Sunak had a Tanzanian and a Kenyan parent. He was born in Southampton. I'm born in Portsmouth, so I've got a natural dislike for him anyway, straight away, because he's Southampton. It's a football thing, isn't it? So he then obviously grows up here and he goes and becomes the Prime Minister. I think he was dealt a bad hand, fair enough. I'm not going to go at Rishi. But now he goes to California, and I'm just trying to work out whether he has an allegiance to the country. He's British, but he's not English. His heritage is not English. It's not Scottish. It's not Welsh. Right? It's Tanzanian. It's Kenyan. That's where his parents are from. Now, here's the other thing. Kemi Badenoch. She was what's called an anchor baby. Now, an American taught me that term. I'm just still learning it. Anchor baby. Her mother came over here to use the National Health Service to have the baby, Kemi Badenoch. Then Kemi went back to Nigeria, where she did some schooling. Then she went to America, where she did some more schooling. And then she came back here, and now she's leading the Conservative Party. How much allegiance, having lived outside the country, does Kemi Badenoch have to the country? That's all I'm asking. It's a question. I'm not saying anything. The reason I want to talk about the Home Office briefly in the next minute, and then I'll go, is there are a group of over 700 civil servants in the Home Office. They've got the Home Office Islamic Network aiming to recruit Muslim staff and influence policymakers from the inside. That was Stephen Edginton. He used to work for the Telegraph, works GB News now. It was April 2024. He's a good man, Stephen. Watch that guy. He's going to do well. He's a massively great young investigative reporter. How can we investigate the Home Office? Because we need to rip that apart. We need British people. We need people in there with an ancestry of their country. All right, I'm saying, so they care for the country. That's what I'm saying. How can we investigate it? I made a list of how you can investigate the Home Office here. I didn't realise there were so many ways. Home Office, Internal Audit and Assurance Directorate. Independent Office for Police Conduct. Don't use those. They've got a bad rep. Civil Service Commission. Home Affairs Select Committee. Cabinet Office. National Crime Agency. Serious Fraud Office. Public Inquiry under the Inquiries Act 2005. Probably have one of those, to be fair. National Audit Office. Information Commissioner's Office. Equality and Human Rights Commission. We've got to do something, guys. Don't forget, there are 40,000 Muslims on the terror watch list at the moment. Muslims make up 6% of the population, but 18% of the prison population. I'm just saying, I'm pointing something out here, really. And all I will leave you with now, remember that guy that drove in that market? He was a Muslim. When I say was a Muslim, they're saying he's an ex-Muslim, but he was a Muslim. Some people will say you're always a Muslim. I couldn't care less whether he was or not. But I'm saying that atheism, Christianity, Zionism, it doesn't matter. They don't have anything where they attack people like that, like he did. The only ideology that fuels this level of hatred towards Christians is Islam. I'm not having to go, it's not an anti-Islam video. This is an anti-Home Office video. This is what this video is about. I'm anti the Home Office, the British, the UK Home Office. We need to get in there, tear them apart, do something about it. But when we're doing that, we need to work out whether we want these people in the Home Office. Who do we want there deciding who comes into our country? Remember, when people come into the country illegally, only 1 in 50 of them has a passport. And then we grant them some kind of asylum, okay? It's wrong. We don't know who they are, and they're being allowed to stay. And it was the same thing with this guy in Germany. We knew who he was eventually, but he still did this. So what are we waiting for something now? Because we are. And rightfully, we should be disgusted at the people in government that are supposedly leading us. It's absolutely fundamentally wrong. We need to do something about it, guys. Hey, I appreciate your time. I'll leave this video up here, all right? Have a great Christmas, guys. Tim Davies, Fast Ship Performance.